Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is AJ Orsini, and I am your host for Orsini's Uncensored Mind. We are here with episode 4. Episode 4. I'm super excited about continuing this project of mine and learning and adapting as I go. A lot of different things on the mind. Today is a very special day. Yesterday was a very special day. Today is special for me for a personal reason, but yesterday was a very special day because yesterday was Halloween. Yesterday was a day where everyone gets to dress up like complete morons, and here in New York, dressing up like complete morons is an everyday thing, but yesterday is the one day of the year where it is socially acceptable to do so, so I hope everyone yesterday had a very fun and safe Halloween. I unfortunately missed Halloween. I did not get a chance to trick-or-treat with my son and my family because I had some business to take care of yesterday, but all that now is in the rear view mirror. I didn't get to do any of the work, but I am enjoying the fruits of my son's labor as I sit before him at this chair here to put this podcast together, and I have a nice array of sweets and chocolates before me, which I will be devouring as soon as I hit the stop button on this thing. So it takes me back to my school days. I never really trick-or-treated when I was a kid, and yet still got to indulge in a lot of the candy. So that should be I got a fun November 1st in front of me. How are you guys doing? It's fall. It's autumn. It's a brisk morning. And a ton of things that I want to get to in this episode. I definitely want to get a little bit under the controversy about Leo Rush's tweets concerning the releases that took place. Not going to harp on that too much. You probably have heard everything there is to hear about it as it is. But I have a particular take on it that I'd like to divulge into because it was Halloween yesterday. Not exactly one of my favorite holidays of the year, but definitely one of the most fun. I've got some friends who really get balls deep into that holiday. Not just dressing up and doing the trick-or-treating thing, but just really getting wrapped in all the fun of Halloween. So got some Halloween stuff coming up here on this podcast. Definitely going to be, I wouldn't consider it a special, but I'm going to stick to a particular theme considering it was a major holiday yesterday. And I had a particular plan for this podcast. I had a particular direction that I wanted to go with it. But unfortunately, we have to begin on a somber note. A lot of things in the news going down. I'm filming this on Wednesday. I've been getting closer and closer to the release date with these filmings. I'm walking a fine line trying to stay current, but at the same time trying to get it done while I have the time to do so, because my days are usually very jam-packed with a ton of shit to do. But somber note, because the headline once again reads, Terror in Lower Manhattan. For those of you who do not know, because it hasn't even been a full 24 hours yet. But for those of you who do not know, there was an incident that took place in Lower Manhattan yesterday afternoon, about 3:05 in the afternoon, in an area that hits very close to home for me, and not just me, but a lot of New Yorkers, because what took place was a young gentleman. And I'm not even sure I'm saying his name correctly, and I really don't give a shit if I'm saying his name correctly. But what's this? Sayfulo Sapov, whatever. Gentleman in his late 20s decided he was going to get his hands on a box truck that he was renting, and he was coming down the West Side Highway, which, if you're not familiar with New York, not clearly on the west side of the island, but at the same time, West Side Highway is kind of also West Street. Like, it's hard to explain to people that it's a highway, but it's not really a highway. It's still kind of a street, but it's built like a highway. It's odd. But he's coming down the West Side Highway, going southbound, and for about a mile, he drove his truck dangerously through traffic down a bike lane. He injured 12 civilians, and unfortunately 8 people are dead. And after traveling down for about a mile, he takes his truck and crashes it into a school bus, a high school bus to be specific. Several injured on the bus. When the vehicle was of no longer use to him, he exited the vehicle, at which point he started toting around what looked and appeared to be, clearly looked to be firearms. The police were on the scene. They saw a situation and saw an opportunity, and they took it. Gunshots rained out, and the suspect was hit in the abdomen and taken into custody. He is alive. He is not dead. He is being treated in a local medical facility, using WWE terms there. And so the headline once again reads, and I don't want to say once again like it's an everyday occurrence, because it's not. If you're not familiar with how New York goes, yes, we have our fair share of crime, but terror in Lower Manhattan is not an everyday occurrence. However, it is a very infamous one. This situation took place on the corner of West Street and Chambers. It's significant now because West Street, or the West Side Highway, always heavily populated. A ton of people there all the time. There's businesses down there. There's that happens to be the exact corner of BMCC, Borough of Manhattan Community College, which I spent the last 2.5 years attending. I actually just transferred out of that school like last semester. So the spring semester. So for about 2.5 years, I spent countless days on that very corner. I've been on that corner with my son. There's a lot of personal ties to me to that corner. On that note, I want to send out a thank you to a lot of people, because a lot of people that I know personally know that I've attended that school for forever and were either unaware or just didn't remember that I had transferred out already. And I was actually in Queens, which is several miles away from the incident. But there were a lot of people that attached me to that school because I've been going there for so long, and they were sending out messages, and they were trying to check me in on Facebook to see if I was okay. I am okay, obviously. And I have some former classmates that still attend that school, and I sent some messages out myself to make sure that everything was on the up and up. I don't personally know anyone that was either injured or in harm's way of this unfortunate situation. And but terror in Lower Manhattan, that headline right there, is big because not because of the school, not because of the heavy population, but because it's a very specific location. That is minutes. I mean, maybe if you're walking, maybe 10-minute walk, maybe even less if you're a speed walker, from another terror incident that took place in Lower Manhattan. About 10 minutes, we'll say, from an area where 2 of the largest buildings in the world once stood. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world now where if you say there was a terror incident and you say 8 were killed and 12 were injured, it's about 20 casualties altogether, and you say this out loud, and as a New Yorker, your instinct is actually to just breathe a sigh of relief. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world where you hear the kind of news and a sigh of relief is your reaction, because the reaction everyone usually tends to have is, oh man, it could have been worse. I would love to live in a world where 8 people dead and 12 injured is a catastrophic event. Unfortunately, when you're coming off of the heels, not just of a situation where you're comparing it to 9/11, which you can't compare it to. It's not even a fair comparison, but it's going to be lumped in, especially since it's a nice juicy soundbite for the media. But we're just coming off of the Las Vegas situation where 50 plus were killed and over 500 people were injured. We're just coming off of several natural disasters that have a kill count of even higher than that. It's a shame that something like this will probably still be lost in the shuffle in some way, but it is unfortunate. And thoughts and prayers is kind of a cliche thing at this point. I mean, you got to be tired of thought and prayers, but definitely condolences to the families and to the individuals who lost their lives yesterday in this. You can call it a senseless act, but we don't know if it's a senseless act, because that's another part of the equation that I don't think the media is really harping on just yet. I mean, this situation with this gentleman, it fits all the markers. You know, a guy who's claiming to have ties to ISIS and just reckless abandon and murder and terror overall. And I don't think anybody's really concerned with the why. As soon as they heard that this gentleman was screaming Allah Akbar and he is interested in having ties with certain villainous characters, I think the why for certain people tends to go out the window. I think everyone just has a cut and paste idea of what the reasoning already is. And I think it's unfair. And I think it's unjust on the people who lost their lives to not inquire more. Now, I'm not saying that they won't. Remember, I stated at the beginning of this, it hasn't even been a full 24 hours. The guy has a bullet hole in his fucking stomach, and I'm sure once they get him nice and patched up and hydrated and fed, they're going to put his ass through the ringer. Because I think a why is very important here. And I would never compare this to 9/11. You cannot compare something like this to 9/11. But you cannot deny that there's something eerily fucking similar. Planes were used in 9/11, so that's a little bit more convoluted and a little bit more complicated. All this guy really did was rent a truck and go a little bit nuts. But the news is reporting that he rented this truck in Passaic County. And again, if you're not from the New York area, Passaic County is not exactly a stone's throw from lower Manhattan. So the gentleman rented a vehicle far away from the incident in which he chose, drove all the way down into lower Manhattan, and then proceeded downtown to create this act. Very similar to when the planes were hijacked in Boston, and I don't know, it just seems like a lower scale version of a lot of things that have happened in this city before. Not even 9/11, but before that, with the situation in '93 with the World Trade Center. There's been many situations, even the bomb scare in Times Square. There's been many terrorist situations where it's actually been completed or attempted, or it's very odd that these people are choosing far off locations to hatch these nefarious plans, and then very high populated significant areas in which they're having these plans come to fruition. So if you're one of those people who say, well, we need better security, we need, tougher ways to go about fishing these people out, I just don't see how you do it. It goes back to what I said before when we first talked about the Las Vegas situation, and humanity is just scum. It's just shit. I mean, you can't stop people from doing bad things. I mean, you can deter it, you can clamp down on it, you can make it harder to do, you can funnel it in and try to rein in on people, but it'll never fully go away. This is just something, unfortunately, that we're going to have to learn to live with, and it's just a shame that I found this news out on a subway train heading to Queens, which is in the opposite direction of where everything's going on. And everyone's getting the same news alerts. They're getting the same bloops on their phones. And everyone's reaction is either a sigh of relief, like I mentioned before, but there were actually people who were sighing when they read the message and just said to themselves, ugh, that's going to make traffic hell downtown. I mean, that's the world we live in right now. New Yorkers have that kind of mentality. It's the same thing when someone gets depressed and they just want to end it, and they jump in front of a train, or they jump into the train tracks and wait for a train to come hit them, and everyone's reaction is, well, why did you pick the train? I have to get to work. Can't you handle that business at home with a gun or a knife or something? You're depressed, and then you threw yourself in front of a train, and now the whole city has to pay the price for it. And that's the mentality that people have, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we live in a world where we have to become accustomed to this, that we have to accept this as part of our day. And it's unfortunate because there's 8 people who happened to be on the west side of Lower Manhattan yesterday who won't be going home ever again. And it's a sad story, but it's to a point now where people have just kind of numbed to it. You know, unless you know the individual, unless you have history with the individual, people just kind of take it for face value. And it's sad because it could be any one of us. It could happen at any time. I said that before with Las Vegas. That's what scares people. You know, it's hard to point the finger and say, well, that's the villain. I understand that that's the villain, so I know where to aim my hate. You don't always have the luxury of always being able to aim your hate. You know, these situations are terrible. They're bad. And I just wanted to open up. I didn't want to open up on a sad note, but at the same time, I felt that it's too close to the breadbasket. It's too close to me to not say something about it. And I'm glad they have the guy in custody. It's unfortunate for the 20 people who were affected, but I'm glad that there wasn't 21. So on that note, I'm sure they'll get the area cleaned up and as secure as they possibly can. Having experience on that particular block, I mean, there's cameras everywhere. There's constant police in the area. They're doing the best they can. And so I hope within the course of a week, maybe by the next episode, next Wednesday, we'll have more information on the topic. Until then, just be safe, everybody, please. Just be safe and keep your head on a goddamn swivel, because there's some shitty people out there. Seriously, some shitty people. So, off with that. And I'm going to talk about some Halloween stuff. We're going to talk about some other stuff now. Let's transition. I know it's hard to transition from something like that into something that is, a little more positive, a little bit more upbeat. And we're going to do that. Halloween was yesterday, and all the kiddies and gals and guys were all dressed up in their favorite costumes. And every year you get the one costume that you see multiple times. And I didn't get that. Like I don't know. I saw a lot of superhero costumes. This is like one of the first years in a long time where I didn't really see too many repeat costumes, which I thought was really cool. There wasn't a whole lot of repeat costumes. So that's good. So people got a little bit more creative. That's nice. You know, you get your kids in the superhero outfits. You know, I saw a few It costumes. The clown in the raincoat and the balloons. So there was a bunch of different costumes. I tweeted out yesterday. I saw multiple slutty cops in the middle of the day. 2 of which were teenagers coming from school in slutty cop. So by slutty cop, I mean, like, all right, you're showing a lot of tit, you're showing a lot of ass. Okay, you got your midriff going, and it's just cop outfit. And 2 kids, essentially, 2 teenagers coming out of school wearing the old slutty cop outfit. So that happened. So I started thinking about Halloween. I wasn't going to be able to actually trick or treat, but I started thinking about Halloween. And most holidays suck. I'm not a big holiday guy. Most holidays suck. But I actually have no real beef with Halloween, because I usually have a lot of fun. Even if I'm not dressed up, I usually tend to have a lot of fun. I attach fun to Halloween, but not everyone does. A lot of people take it as a moment to be as creative as possible, or to get into some more sick and sadistic shit, or to be more on the evil side. You know, there's a lot of different variations of how people celebrate Halloween. So one of the biggest things that people do on Halloween, besides the trick-or-treating and besides the candy and besides the getting dressed, is they like to sit back and enjoy a nice film, some movies. And I, for one, enjoy movies. I love sitting back, watching the old TV, and getting immersed in a world of crazy shit. So now for Halloween, though, things get different. People have different versions of what they really get into for Halloween. People see it as a time to watch scary movies, or watch scary in the sense of like thriller or like horror movies, or gory movies, or funny movies, or Halloween themed, or supernatural themed. It's all different shit. And to illustrate how different that it is, I posted on my Facebook, which if you're not following me on social media, I know I tag it all the time. But Facebook, Twitter, and IG are the same, AJ Orsini 96. And obviously the podcast, ajoum.podbean.com. And now I have a Tumblr. No idea why I have the Tumblr. I was just convinced that it was a good idea. But it's also ajoum.tumblr.com. And on my Facebook, though, I created I made a status stating like what are your go-to movies. Like I was just trying to look at some different stuff because I'm not really much of a horror buff or a thriller. I don't know, not much into the scary shit. But I've seen my fair share, and I have my preferences, and I have my favorites. But I wanted to really expand out, and I figure I'd take it to you guys and ask you guys the big question: what do you guys really get into? And I got a lot of responses, but the first response was the most shocking to me because I said, okay, Halloween movies, your go-to Halloween movies, go. And for some reason, I don't know, my brain was on, Friday the 13th or the actual Halloween with Michael Myers. I started thinking about all these, scary, maybe horror, gory movies. And the first fucking response was Halloween Town. Fucking Halloween Town from Disney. And I quickly realized some people's variation of Halloween movies are a little different than the norm. And more importantly, very different from what I was anticipating. Very different. So I was getting the answers I was looking for. The Thing and It and all these different franchises and movies. But, Hocus Pocus came up. So I was just thinking to myself, this has gone off the rails here. This is not exactly what I was looking for, but it did accomplish the goal, which was to get the wheels moving here. And what I decided to do is I made a few notes for myself because this is my show. So I wanted to talk about some things that I get into. And I always love feedback, and I always love asking you guys questions and you guys getting back to me, which is what happened yesterday. So it was a lot of fun. And there are different categories, and I have some different categories all set up for this discussion because what are Halloween movies? Everyone, I really truly believe it's subjective. Everybody kind of has their own idea of what they feel is a good Halloween movie. Most people anticipate that it's going to be scary or gory, and not a lot of people find funny movies as a part of the equation. So, Hocus Pocus and Halloween Town obviously came to mind to me as kind of like a hokey, fun, kid-friendly version of Halloween movies. You got your Charlie Brown Halloween. They have many kid specials now. As a dad, I've sat through almost all of them so far. So, some of them are funny. It's cool. Like, I get it. There were a few movies that, like, the classics. Like, the classics to me where it's just like, it's murder and killing and suspense and thrillers. You got your Halloween. Like classic, like franchise shit, like Halloween and Friday the 13th, and Hellraiser, and even more recently, and I know people are going to disagree because of the quality. The quality is dry. Well, the quality. Okay, I was going to say Saw. I include Saw in that, but for a lot of people, they go, I mean, after Saw 1, maybe Saw 2, it just kind of drops off. So I don't really consider Saw like a classic franchise. Okay, granted, I will give you that. But have you seen Friday the 13th Part 7? I mean, a lot of these franchises, even like Freddy, like a lot of these franchises, like once you started getting into, Part 8, Part 9, like some of these franchises started falling the fuck off. But we still consider them classics. So I'm not going to grade Saw the same way I grade the other ones, but then put Saw on like the shelf. If the other movies can have a consistent character that delivers on what the fan base expects of it on a consistent basis, I'm going to give it its due. And the Jigsaw character, who just won the box office this past week with the release of Jigsaw, the Jigsaw character to me is one of the few scary characters left. So, no, I'm going to put Saw in there. I am going to put Saw in there. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a lot of, those are the kind of movies where I'm like, okay, if I see them on TV, I associate, Halloween. A buddy of mine also suggested movie, non-franchises. There's a couple movies here and there. It was a very popular movie back in the day. It was recently redone to rave reviews. A lot of people seem to like the new It. They seem to like it. They're pretty fucking cool with it. I've never seen the original It or the current It or any variation of It. I haven't seen any of it. Not at all. And I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know. Every time I see it on TV or the trailers that came out recently, I just doesn't really grab me. It doesn't grab me. There you go. I'm being specific and vague at the same time. It doesn't grab me. But there are other movies that I don't know. I consider to be quote unquote scary movies, but didn't really scare me very much. We got The Conjuring, The Exorcist was good. I liked The Exorcist. Like especially when I was younger, like I liked The Exorcist. I just thought it was a weird ass, scary. I wasn't scared, but I consider it kind of a scary kind of movie where I was just kind of fucking weirded out. The Thing comes up a lot. That movie comes up a lot when it comes to scary movies and shit. I'm not a big gore fan. Only for the simple fact of it's just it becomes a bit much. I don't know, like the special effects, especially since a lot of the gore films come from the 80s when all of the special effects were basically done by fucking hand and were baked in a kitchen. It's just like the blood and the guts and getting torn apart and the sounds of like a body ripping and I'm good. I'm fucking good. No. It's like what was it? When Shaun of the Dead did the whole, they separated, who was it, David in the bar? Which is still one of my favorite. I mean, not Final Destination hit by a bus funny, but definitely one like funny. Like some movies, I don't think they intend to have funny deaths, but yeah, some of these deaths are pretty funny. By the way, that's my all-time favorite spontaneous death. Final Destination. The blonde chick that gets run over by the bus. Perfect scene. You can't recreate that scene in any movie ever. That's a perfect death. I fucking love it. Yeah, so gore movies. House of a Thousand Corpses always come to mind to me. It's one of the few gore films. Actually, can I safely say it's the only? Because I've seen gore films, but never really from beginning to end. I always manage to see them when they're on TV or at a friend's house. House of a Thousand Corpses, and I'm referring to the original one. I know Rob Zombie did one later on, which was okay, I guess. If you're a big gore fan, I'm sure it was okay. But the original one always stands out for me. And watching that, I always just kind of assumed that the gore thing was just, I don't know, it played to something in your brain, right? It played to something. There's something fucked up in your head. You watch a gore film and you're just happy and giddy and shit. Something has to be broken in you for you to get excited about these fucking films. What the fuck is so cool about seeing people ripped in half? I don't know. Yeah, I can watch it and be I just assumed being gross by it was the point. I didn't think people actually watched these things that got fucking hard from it. You know, like they enjoyed it. You know, they sit back and they watch a girl get, her fucking spine ripped out of her asshole, and they go, "Ugh, yes, that's cinema. that's entertainment. That's the kind of shit where, it sets me at ease." And I've been at work all day taking cheeseburger orders or whatever. I just want to come home and see a fucking guy's spleen ripped out of his fucking back. That's what I enjoy. Like, who hurt you? What's wrong with you? Why weren't you hugged as a child? Jesus Christ. So I have very limited experience when it comes to the scary and when it comes to the horror. But I do have my experiences, and my experiences are, I would watch Hellraiser at 2 a.m. and almost shit myself. I always loved the main, I don't know, I guess the point of these films was to fall in love with the villain, right? Because the villain was always the consistent part. Very rarely did heroes ever return. Whenever like a horror movie or a thriller happened and the bad guy, even if the bad guy got his in the end, it would always be the bad guy coming back. How many fucking people killed Freddy? Quotation marks in the air. Freddy had a daughter at one point that killed him, for Christ's sake. The Chucky series with Andy, That's why I love that scene that they did recently where Chucky shipped himself in a box and he was met by a shotgun from Andy, who does not fuck around when it comes to dolls, and I don't blame him. I don't fuck around with dolls either, and I've never met Chucky once. So I have my limited experiences. I've seen a lot of scary movies, and I'll watch them every now and then for Halloween. I don't really divulge too much, but I'll watch them. As a matter of fact, yesterday for Halloween, after everything went down, and my son got put to bed, and my wife, who's still sick, took herself to bed. I had a chance to do a little bit of research here for this podcast, and then I just kind of relaxed for a little bit. And Lord and behold, what's on? Put the Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger in the house, and I remember the Jason Voorhees of the worlds, the Michael Myers of the worlds, and I don't know. Freddy's my go-to guy. I asked yesterday, what's your go-to movie? My go-to movie is Nightmare on Elm Street, because to me it was one of the, I can watch him now as an adult and kind of laugh. I can kind of laugh now because I can see the humor in Freddy now. When I was a kid, it didn't sound funny to me when I was a kid. It sounded creepy when I was a kid. That humor sounded so creepy. It sounded so scary to hear this guy say the shit that he's going to say, and I don't know. I guess the desired effect of how they acted it and how they wrote it, it worked on me to a T. When he used to say things and then he would end it with bitch, bon appetit, bitch. Like, I don't know. That would scare. It scared the shit. When I was a kid, it was like, piss yourself, I need a nightlight, like type of scared. Like, I would be fucking terrified. What made me even more afraid of Freddy in particular is that Freddy could kill you in your dreams. Jason's hard to kill, but you can outrun him. Like, if you don't fall down and you just fucking sprint, just go, just run, just hop on a car and fucking go, and you'll watch Jason just somber towards you till the end of time. You could avoid Jason. You could avoid Michael Myers. You could find a way to incapacitate them in some way enough to break free. Freddy killed you in your fucking dreams, man. In your fucking dreams when you were asleep. Like, the whole point of these films is that you couldn't fall asleep. That was, I don't know, to me, maybe I'm a bitch, but that was fucking terrifying to me when I was a kid. Terrifying. I was fucking scared. My mother used to get so fucking mad because I was legitimately shit myself scared from Freddy Krueger when I was a kid. Now I watch it and I laugh because it just looks weird and corny. But the way that they did it with the glove, with the blades on it and the fucked up skin, and the way that he would kill people, like Jason would be like very gruesome, and Michael Myers and Leatherface and all these different characters, they were all very gruesome killers. But Freddy had fucking creativity. If you were a fucking bulimic, he'd feed you to fucking death. If you were a drug addict, he OD'd you. Like, he was a crazy motherfucker, man. Fucking Freddy, dude. I hated Freddy when I was a kid. And to watch it last night on Halloween and to have it on and watch it as an adult now, I think to myself, I am never letting my son watch this shit. Never letting my son watch this shit because my son gets night terrors now. My son sleeps in the dark. He'll wake up at 2 a.m. and just be fucking terrified. I don't know if he's having nightmares already, but he'll just wake up and start screaming. And then we'll put him in bed with us for a little bit, and he'll start to simmer down, and then we'll put him back to bed, and everything's fine with the world. But he gets up now, and he doesn't even know what the fuck Freddy is. Imagine if I showed this kid Freddy. He'll see Freddy and die. Like, I'm on command. As soon as he sees Freddy, he'll just fucking pass away. So I'm not showing him shit. He'll find out about this genre of movies a lot later on. So yeah, so that's some of my Halloween stuff. I love movies. My boy Brandon mentioned Halloween themed TV shows is more his thing, and that's true. I think every TV show at some point in time or another has done some Halloween themed shows. I know The Simpsons are probably the most famous example of that with their what was that series they have? It's been so fucking long since I've seen The Simpsons. But they have the Treehouse something, like 37, like part 37. They're like, how long have The Simpsons been on the air, dude? Like 25 years or some shit? 24, 28? It's a big fucking number. I know it's in the 20s. Long fucking time. The Simpsons have been on the air. And I know they've done Halloween shit as well. So yeah, there's that. There's been some other examples of Halloween specials. So yeah, I hope everybody had a good ass Halloween. Don't get diabetes and don't get any holes in your teeth. Take it from me. Take care of your teeth. I got 2 missing teeth in my head. Actually, I'm putting my tongue through it now. I got 3 missing teeth, I think. And it wasn't just non-proper care either. One of those teeth I lost physically. 2 teeth actually I lost physically. The other one was removed by a dentist. So take care of your teeth, kids. You don't know fucking pain until you have a fucking toothache, bro. Toothache, no fucking joke. It's the one part it's like not the one, but it's one of the parts of your body where you just take totally for granted. Teeth just rest in your head. It has the one purpose, mincing your food up so you don't fucking take a watermelon whole into your throat. You need your teeth to chew shit up. So it really, really has the one job. So you sit there and you take it for granted. But man, when your teeth fucking go, bro, they fucking go. Okay? Oral surgery, motherfucker. Teeth pain sucks. And for me, because I've seen people use like the oral gel shit, they put the little dab and it goes numb and it feels bad. Fuck that. None of that shit ever works on me, bro. None of that shit ever works on me. I could oral gel. I could take a fucking hammer and chisel. None of that shit works. When I get fucking toothache pain, brother, I get fucking toothache pain. Period. End of fucking story. That shit kills. I want to fucking die. I've been in the ring and I've broken shit. I got no fucking tendons in my ankles anymore. They're gone. I've separated my shoulder. I've done damage to my fucking spine. I've fucking blown my knee out. I've had like 4 fucking concussions. Like, I've had fucking injuries. And I will take all them shits. I'll take a concussion. I'll pop my fucking ankle again, which sucked, but I'll pop it again before I get another fucking toothache. Fuck that. No toothache. None. So take care of your fucking teeth. You don't want to be hopped over or in the emergency room with no fucking... That's another part that drove me nuts. My fucking dentist is both the best and the fucking worst. He's an awesome dentist. Every single time I've gone to him, he's managed to figure out the problem almost immediately and has a solution 100% of the time. He's like a fucking magician. Every single time, and I don't have a toothache all the time, but when I do, it's fucking bad. Like want to murder the person next to you simply for the relief and sensation of ending a life. Bad. Like, it's terrible. So when I go to a dentist, I need fucking relief, bro. Pull something out, inject something, give me a fucking pill, something. Make this shit go away. And every single time I've gone to this dentist, he has pulled he's pulled it off 100% of the time. The kid has 100% success rate. I love my doctor on that end. The part that fucking sucks and is the worst about the doctor or this dentist is his schedule is all over the fucking map. I fucking hate his fucking schedule. First of all, no weekends and no Friday. Okay? So that leaves Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Tuesday is from 2 to 6. And I think Thursday also is from 2 to 6. But then Monday and Wednesday are in the fucking morning. Okay? Now I work fucking 8 to 3 I work. Okay? 8 to 3 I work. Which leaves Monday and Wednesday in the wind. And since I don't have a weekend or Friday, that only leaves Tuesday and Thursday. Now, you're saying to yourself, hey, 2 to 6, you got time to get there. True. But if I get a fucking toothache at 8 o'clock on a Thursday, I'm fuck city. Fuck city. Swollen gum population me, bro, for days. And this has fucking happened to me. As a matter of fact, the last fucking toothache I had was a Thursday fucking evening. I don't know why, but in the middle of the fucking night, I think it was like 1, 2 in the morning, I woke up and all of a sudden I just had a fucking pain in my mouth. And I just woke up and fucked city, bro. Friday came, the next fucking day came, and I wanted to fucking murder. Look how mad I got. I just moved the whole microphone. That's how fucking mad I got. I just wanted death. I wanted to bring death upon all around me. I was so fucking mad. And I just said to myself, all right, we have to make it till fucking Tuesday, and then I can see the fucking doctor. Now, my dentist works in an office with other people. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, Orsini, if your mouth hurts that bad, go to the office and just see another fucking dentist. Well, smart ass, I already did that once, and it ended in unmitigated failure. That's why I said my doctor is the best. He has 100% success rate. He's never failed me. Other doctors, or dentists I should say, have failed me immensely. Or I would go into the office with tooth pain and I'd leave the office with fucking tooth pain. And they'd give me these low-end drugs that don't do shit. I'm still in pain. So, you need to get the fuck out my face with that. So, Friday, I want to murder, but the office is still open. So, I call the office. I say, office, I need you to hook me up with my dentist for Tuesday. And they'll say, okay, what time you want to set the appointment? So how early can I see the motherfucker? Well, you can see the motherfucker at 3. All right then, motherfucker, hook me up for 3. So I set it up for Tuesday at 3. But it's Friday. And my teeth feel like angry little people stabbing me in the mouth with fucking toothpicks. So I proceed to try to survive. Now, as my toothache increases in pain, we start coming up with all kinds of shit. Okay? They got this medication. I forgot what the fuck it's called. It's like a little stick with a sponge on it. And you put this numbing cream on your gums and all that. Nothing. Okay? If all it did was make me $8 more broke and make my urge to kill higher. So did nothing. So Saturday rolls around. I'm swashing salt water. I'm on the Google trying to find home remedies. Sunday, I can't take it. I'm about to take my own life, folks. Sunday, I'm about to take my own life. So I said, no, I can't do this to myself. So I head to the emergency room as a last-ditch effort. Now, for those of you who have ever been to the emergency room for a toothache, if you've never been to the emergency room for a toothache, allow me to give you the shortcut of what's about to go down. Nothing. For some reason, for a toothache, the emergency room doesn't know its head from its ass. No clue what to do. They gave me some cool medications that took the edge off, but it didn't fucking help me zero. So I had to wait on my appointment with the dentist nonetheless. I got in on Tuesday, and the motherfucker pulled me out of misery. So he's like the best drug dealer of all time. Unfortunately, the motherfucker's never around. So for all you potheads out there, I think you understand my plight here. So I love my dentist, but I hate his punk ass at the same time. When I got in Tuesday, boy, let me tell you, my appointment was at 3 o'clock. He didn't see my teeth till 3:15 because I spent 14 minutes ripping into that ass. Show up for work, jackass. I got teeth issues. I'm not the only one here with teeth issues. You work in Manhattan, there's got to be a million fucking teeth issues here. I alone have 37 teeth. That's just me alone. You get about 5 people in here, that's 150 teeth. You got shit to do. I didn't mean to go on a tooth rant, but God damn it. Toothaches suck. That's the moral of the goddamn story. And speaking of sucking, sometimes people suck. Okay? Now I'm going to transition this because I'm getting awfully close to the go home here, and I got one more topic I need to hit. Okay? So over the course of this week, WWE decided they were going to trim some fat here and give some people their future endeavors. So a few pink slips, if you will. And 3 names got the axe. That would be Darren Young. That would be Summer Rae. And that would be Emma. Now, as I stated episode goddamn 1, I am not one to judge because I wasn't good enough to get there. I can sit here and say, well, they weren't doing much with Darren anyway, so fuck it. No, I'm not going to do that. Darren Young, I'm sure, was making some pretty decent money and supporting his family with it, so I'm not going to sit here and say fuck it. I say it's a sad goddamn day for Darren Young. He never did shit to me, and he always tried to entertain, so I wish you the best of luck, bro. Summer Rae, wasn't the biggest fan of your work, but at least you gave it a fucking shot. I respect it. I don't really see either of those two really doing much after this release. Darren, I can see going back to the Indies and trying to recreate himself. I know that he's got some creative stuff that he does on his own, so maybe we'll hear more about that as time progresses on. But Summer Rae, I mean, with the football and the modeling, they're all stuff she did before wrestling. She wasn't really much of an indie person. She never really did much wrestling aside from the WWE. And when you don't have that base before the WWE, then I don't really see you going in that order. Like no one, like if you can go from the indies to the WWE, very few times, I really can't even think off the top of my head, where it works, where you go from WWE to the indies. Because if you start with the indies, then you're used to the shit pay. And you can work your angles, and you can go to the places where you make the most money, and you can kind of recoup and live a decent life. When you're used to WWE money, and you've never been to the indies, and then you travel to the indies, it can be a bit of a culture shock. The best example I can give you was when it happened to Melina. You know, Melina was in the WWE for forever, and then one day she wasn't. So she hit the indie scene, and everybody was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to see Melina against some of our favorite indie stars, and this is going to be entertaining. And then she released her price tag, and everyone laughed, and that was pretty much the end of Melina's fucking career. Because it's you can't make WWE money on the indies. You can make good money, you can make sustainable money, you can make a career on the indies, but you can't recoup the money. For those who say that they can, like when Cody said it recently, well, I'm making more money now than the WWE. That's not the rule, kids. That's an exception. Okay? He's making exceptional money because he's an exceptional talent. Not everybody on the indies is exceptional. So I bid them adieu. Wish them well on their future endeavors. I hope they get an opportunity to prove what they can really do outside of the WWE bubble. That leaves me with Emma. Now, there are rumors being said that she asked for her release. There are conflicting reports as to whether or not she was released outright, whether it be for behavior issues. There's literally no clear-cut answer as to why the release happened. As a matter of fact, it almost appears like it was out of the blue. And I doubt that it was actually out of the blue. I'm sure Emma had some inkling somewhere that this might be heading toward a bad path. But nonetheless, Emma is no longer with WWE, and I cannot speak for her when I say this, but I, for one, think that is the best thing that can happen for Emma. I'm super fucking excited for Emma, because I think Emma was handed kind of a bad hand with the WWE, which is ironic because I don't think she was given a bad hand in NXT. I think she was given the bad hand on the main roster. And the reason for that is because I think in NXT, when you have an ability to get into the boss's ear and be creative and create something together, not just what you want to do as a talent, but to get the guy who's really driving the ship here and get together and formulate a real plan, I think that's a much more fulfilling process than just showing up to a taping and being handed a piece of paper with what you're going to do on it. I knew when Emelina folded, the writing was on the fucking wall. That was the WWE's push for her. And when it didn't work out, I knew she was dead in the water then. Look how she was booked after that. Disgraceful. She's one of the most talented wrestlers in the world, male or female. That's how I feel about Emma. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. There are a lot of people, in-house and fan-wise, that respect her greatly. Not just for her work ethic, but the way she handles herself as a professional, the way that she turned herself around after the Walmart incident. I mean, just everything, top to bottom. She's respected. And I'm excited for her because now that she's been released from the handcuffs, now that she's free to roam, quote-unquote, society again, we're going to get a chance. I'm sure of the three, I'm sure Emma's going to be doing something wrestling related, and I'm sure she's going to kill it because she's that good. She's that good. She's going to be the female version of what Drew did, of what Jinder did, of what Cody is doing. She's going to be the female version of that. She's going to go out. She's going to make a killing. I can see her in New Japan. I can see her with Shimmer. I can see her doing things with Women of Honor. I can see her doing a lot of things. As a matter of fact, just to put a staple on it, I can see her doing basically whatever the fuck she wants to do. Absolutely. Whatever she wants to do, I feel comfortable knowing that she's going to kill it because she's that good. And I think this is an opportunity. And while it sucks to have a stable financial situation taken from you, I think this is also an opportunity for her to grow as a person and to get better. She's great now. Scary as it is, she can be better. And I think she will get better. I think she'll get more creative. I think she really hit her stride. She really plays to her competition. You know, when she wrestles Dana Brooke, it's a shit match. Well, she's wrestling a shit wrestler. When she wrestles Asuka, or when she had her original feud, like with Paige, competitors that could really bring it out of you, then yeah, she looked great. So I think when she starts getting into the ring with the Santana Garretts of the world, you know, and I was going to say Candice LeRae, but now she's headed to WWE. Like a lot of the women now that I remember from WWE as indie stars are now being signed. But Emma can really lead that charge and really get these new girls, these new women, a big league experience here, and really put together a package and put matches together and put a character together that really demonstrates who she is. You know, she's going to have an opportunity to really do a lot of good stuff. The only detriment to the plan is, at the end of the day, she's a woman. And I'm not saying she can't achieve success, and I'm not saying that she shouldn't. I'm saying she's going to be surrounded by a lot of chauvinistic assholes who are not going to see it that way. You know, when Drew McIntyre left, he was still making good money and still being paid very well because he was Drew McIntyre. Emma is arguably as big a star as the Drew McIntyre that left, not the current Drew McIntyre, but the Drew McIntyre that left. She's arguably as big a star, maybe even bigger than he was when he left. So we'll see what she commands on the market. Let's see what happens. I already brought up the Melina situation, so maybe with Emma's past experience, she'll be able to avoid that mistake and really compound the finances together and put together a nice run. So I wish her the best, and I of the three, I think she'll do the best. And I think she'll be able to recoup everything she feels she may have lost with this release, and I'm sure she'll push forward. Having said that, okay, there's been a little talk and a little buzz on the internet about a particular gentleman who, I don't know, just he's doing what he does. Listen, Leo Rush taking a lot of heat this week. I'm not giving Leo any fucking heat, brother. I'm not. I've worked with the guy. He's a genuine dude. I love him. He was a good guy when I worked with him, and I worked with him a few times, got to speak with him. He borrowed wrist tape from us. So he's a cool dude, okay? He's a cool guy. He's 22, okay? Now, I know he's a father. I know that he's a hell of a talent. You see him perform, you're seeing something great. The kid's good, okay? And he's going to be really good now that he's in NXT. He's good now. He's going to get great while in the NXT system. But he's 22. 22-year-olds do stupid shit. And I know you're going to say, he's a grown man. He's 22. He's an adult. You know who says that? 22-year-olds. 22-year-olds say that they're grown men. Like, we get it. Okay, you can vote. You can legally have sex with people. You can drink. We get it. Drinking, smoking, and fucking doesn't make you a grown fucking person. Okay? There's a certain maturity level that comes to people later in life, and it happens with experiences. And this experience will make him a more mature person. Okay? That's what's going to happen here. He made a fucking joke. Now, was it the time, the place, and does he have the cachet to make said joke? No. As an old school pro wrestling guy, I know for a fact that if he had made that same joke in 1996, even, forget the 80s and the 70s, 1996, he would have gotten his fucking head bashed in. And then, while he was leaking from the fucking head, he would have been propped up, given a beer, and told him, all right, now let's go out there and be professionals. Because that's how the business used to be. It's not that way anymore, but that's the way that it used to be. He's not a greenhorn, but at the same time, he's been doing this 2-3 years, and you just got signed, 2-3 months ago? So to be making that kind of joke, yeah, no. Probably not the best time to make that joke. And you're probably not the right one to make that joke. You have no prior history with them, at least not to the degree where you can make a joke like that. But again, that's what 22-year-olds do. They do stupid shit. So he will live, he will learn, he will get smarter, and he will be fine. All this, we need to get rid of him. He needs to learn how to be an adult. Get over yourselves. Every 22-year-old makes that kind of mistake. And if you didn't, that's just because you made it at 23. Okay? That's what the 20s are for. You're going to make mistakes. Your maturity level and your personality will determine how big a mistake it is. But we all make mistakes. So I'm not giving him any shit. If it becomes a fucking pattern and he just becomes a loudmouth asshole while he's there, then it will shift. Don't think because I've worked with him and I think he's a cool dude that it doesn't mean that when he's no longer being a cool fucking dude that I'm just going to sit here and just be cool with the shit that he does. Incorrect. But I am also not going to sit here and fucking kill the guy off of one fucking mistake. He issued an apology after. It wasn't exactly the best apology, but it was an apology nonetheless. Okay, you really can't call it because people are saying, well, you can't call it an apology when he really didn't apologize for the act. He's saying, well, he's really apologizing for is that people it was overblown, that he doesn't really feel sincere in the apology. I disagree with that. I really do believe that he is apologizing for the actual comment. He's just also simply pointing out that he really wishes it wouldn't have been blown up the way that it did. Okay? He's a good guy. All right? Lio Rush is a good guy. And he's a great worker, and he's going to learn from this. Technically speaking, we should all learn from this. Okay? Have some tact. Run it by somebody before you just hit the fucking send button. All right? Jesus fucking Christ. But I wish all of them well. I wish everybody well. I wish you guys well. I hope you guys did have a safe and happy Halloween. Next week, we'll be back with episode 5. I'm going to be in a different place next week. My wife will not be here. She is leaving this Saturday for Puerto Rico. If you've been keeping up on that, you know what the situation is down there. So I'm not happy about my wife heading to Puerto Rico, but she has to do what she has to do. I'm happy for her. I'm proud of her for doing what she's doing. I'll get more in depth on what she's doing next week. Yeah, so a lot on my mind leading up into next week, but have a safe week. And if anything happens, I'll be here. I'll be here to discuss all of it. And I'll be doing it with an uncensored mind and letting you guys know what's going on the brain. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys next week. I am off to do more crazy shit. And toothaches suck. So peace out.
Please listen to my daddy show.
Please listen to my husband's show.